It's Connected Geek Tech Tip time. We're going to go live in exactly 1 minute and 15 seconds. So what I'm doing this is called the pre-show. The pre-show is more about getting people saying, hey, you know, that this is, we're going live in a couple minutes. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to tell the world that I'm coming online, and in just a few minutes we're gonna go live. And so pre-shows are just that, pre-shows. They let you know that one, I'm coming online, and in exactly 38 seconds. The point of doing that is if I ever wanted to take this content and I wanted to cut out the pre-show, I wouldn't need to. The pre-show does a couple things. The most important thing is in Facebook, it tells the world that you're coming online. So, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but we're going to do it in about 10 seconds. And so, hi EJ, welcome aboard. So take a really quick drink. And welcome to Connected Geek Tech Tips. My name is Larry Miller, and did you know companies are not hiring you because of your social media? Because your digital footprint is not giving you what you need to get the job that you're looking for. So today, on Connected Geek Tech Tips, we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go over some video, we're going to go over some ideas on how to be better online with your social media. Talk about a little bit of your digital footprint, and if you have any questions at the end, bring them to the table, and we'll talk about them towards the end of the session. I'll try to keep an eye on your comments if you have any, but in the meantime, let's get right into it. So I'm Larry Miller. I'm with Connected Geek. I do IT for businesses and residential. I do everything from putting in a wireless access point to fixing your computer, to help build a website, to help you with your social media, which is why what we're talking about today. So today on Connected Geek, I like my little tagline. So keeping the world connected one geek at a time. Well, the reason why I like that is because we're talking about social media today, and we're all connected. So let's try and get connected together. So the first question I have for you is, what are you doing on your social media that is preventing you from getting the job that you want? Well, there's a lot of nuances behind that, and why people are not doing the right stuff on their social media. It's everything from everything from your online presence to not being consistent, making sure that your resume and your what's on Google is not consistent. You have to be consistent. People are doing all kinds of things like bad-mouthing their employers, to posting that they had a horrible interview, and then what that does, it shows the employer that's going to hire you, you know what, they really don't want this job. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and jump into a PowerPoint, and I'm going to kind of talk over it and give you an idea of what it looks like today, and how we can help you be better on the other end of your social media. So let's just dive right into that. So I'm going to switch my screen. So we're going to bring up PowerPoint, and I want to make sure that we can see. We can see it, so great. Let's go to slideshow mode, and let's do, hello, Mr. Martin. No, I don't want presenter view. Problems with the live show. Sometimes technology gets a little hunky. Okay, let's get out of this mode. We want to do play from start. There we go. Okay, So once again, we're doing tech tips. Today is the 15th of January, 2019. Can you believe it's already 2019? Isn't that amazing? All right, so let's dive right into it. My name is Larry Miller, and you can find me on every social media platform at Connected Geek. Connected Geek is who I am, what I do, and you guys can find me, do that there. You can follow me, you can like, share, do whatever you need to do, but come on aboard. First things first, let's talk about companies reviewing your social media. What does that mean? Does that mean that people are looking at what I do every day? Yes, they are. If you, in Facebook, go through and if you see anything related to like a little globe next to your post, that means the world can see that. The world can experience what you're seeing all the time. So if you post something gross or sad or happy or whatever, everybody can see that. The only way to do that is to lock that down a little bit. And we can talk about that a little bit later in the program. So, how do we avoid doing things online that potentially could hurt us? What to avoid in social media? So, I took this particular list from a website I went to earlier today, Business News Daily, and as you can see, this is what they're looking at. They're looking at, did the job candidate have provocative or inappropriate photos? Well, if you're doing stuff online and not and it's provocative, well, guess what? They may see that and they're going to look at that and they're going to determine, are you really doing that online? Well, you really shouldn't be, but people do. Are you doing drinking or doing drugs? Well, it looks like a good number of people are doing that. And if you have any discriminatory comments or criminal behavior or you lied, because everything's online, guys, everything. So you should be able to comb through your stuff and say, should this really be online if I'm looking for a job? If you look at this list, it's everything from bad-mouthing, screen names that are inappropriate, unprofessional, shared confidential information about your current employers. Why would you do that? You need to make sure that you're taking that information and keeping it to yourself. Now, if, like, let's say you wanted to go to an amusement park and you took a day off from work and you started posting pictures about, yeah, I took a day off and now I'm doing all this stuff at the amusement park. And then if they look at that and they see that, they're going to say, well, it looks like he doesn't really care about the job. And in today's world, the last one, it says job candidate posted too frequently. Well, in today's world, people are doing selfies all over the place. Well, that means that they're paying more attention to their social media than they are to their job. So we need to start paying attention to the job and get the job done instead of posting every selfie every 5 minutes. So here, let's see. Let's go. Next one is, so this is a little busy of a slide, but so basically all the old rules of hiring have changed, and what that means is that they're not just going to sit you down and talk to you and say, hey, what did you do, where'd you work? We're on the premise that they just believe what you said and when you walk in the door. Now they're trying to protect their company's best interest and their company's long-term investment in you, because the average employee in America right now, in a recent study, to hire a new employee at mid-level is around $2,000 to hire that person. And to do that, that's a lot of investment on the company's part. So they're making sure that they look at your a website if you have it, your social media, anything related to you. So basically, when they Google you, which we'll talk about in a minute, is that they are seeing things that you are putting out on the internet, and oh my gosh, guess what? They're seeing it. So like this says in this article right here that I grabbed from HR Law Matters, there was a class action lawsuit stating that it was discrimination in their Facebook ads. So information about that person was out on a Facebook ad. Guess what? There was a law. It's so saturated in our world today. We need to pay attention to that. You know, there's Amazon, T-Mobile, and 100 other companies are discriminating against older workers by limiting audience of their Facebook advertisements only to reach younger users. What's going on? So people are looking at this type of social media to really discriminate what's going on in the world. We really need to pay attention to that. So what can we do to make things a little better? So these are some of the things that we want to do online to help us from getting, I guess you can call it, in trouble or not being looked at favorably for a position, because they are going to look at it and they are going to pay attention to you not doing, I guess, what would be called the right thing online before you got the job, right? So let's talk about these. So it's important to have some sort of resemblance of an online presence. What does that mean? Well, that means basically don't have anything at all, nothing at all, because if you did, you're like, well, I know it's like a catch-22. Why would I want to be online if I don't like to be online? Well, it might be more of a benefit just to like have a basic Facebook page, and just so if they did a search, they can see you. Have a couple pictures of the park or something that you don't. It's so non-personal. If you don't like having that type of thing, then don't put it on there. But don't erase everything. Don't have nothing at all. It just doesn't seem, because they're going to look and they're going to try and find out who you are just at the basic level. At the absolute least, have a LinkedIn profile. And please, please, please make it the same as your resume. It needs to be consistent, because if they're different, they're going to compare it and they're going to say, why does it say that you worked here when you didn't work here? They're going to question that, and you're just going to look embarrassed when it comes down to having that conversation with them in person. So let's see, what's the next one? The next thing is, a good thing to do is Google yourself. Google your name. Google who you are and check what's out there online. And go to page 3 or 4 just on the off chance that they're going to look there as well, because they're going to try and like I said earlier, they're going to protect their interest of their company. And it's important that they continue to do that on their behalf and not necessarily yours. So keep that in mind. One other thing you can do is every single social media platform has privacy settings. Well, those privacy settings are very important to keeping your information safe, at least, especially from them, because sometimes there might be some sensitive information about you or your family or your friends that you really don't want anybody else to see but your family and friends. So go back and check your posts, and does it have the little globe next to it in Facebook? You can look at the privacy settings in Instagram and Snapchat, and you can say, oh, I just want my profile just to be me, nobody else, and my family and friends. It's just that easy, just by clicking a few little buttons. So let's go into don't do this. These are the things that you do not do online. You don't badmouth your current employer, because all that's going to do is just show the new employer, oh, well, they don't like where they're working, why would they want to work with us? Another thing is, if you do a lot of posting, don't post it during 9 to 5 hours. If they know that you're going to work you're currently working 9 to 5, and they see like there's 20 posts throughout the day, why would I want you to work for me if you're going to post all day? No, don't do that. Like I mentioned earlier, don't delete all your social media. If you do that, then they're just going to see right through that. And here's the thing. The internet is forever. Somebody out there is grabbing every piece of information about every single thing and posting it someplace else. And within the last 10 years, I personally have seen my accounts, my information posted on Chinese and Japanese and overseas places that I never posted personally. So people grab information all the time, and they put it other places for their archival, to potentially grab your information, which was another series altogether about identity theft. We'll do that in a future episode. But just keep that in mind. Don't delete everything. And don't send friend requests to potential employers and their HR personnel. They don't want to talk to you. They want to talk to you in person or on the phone or do a Skype interview. Those kind of things are important to keep in mind when you're dealing with a new employer. You don't want to start communicating and they might think that you're going to talk inappropriately to them, or harass them about getting the job. We don't want that. None of us want that. So, like I said earlier in the show, don't post about if you had a great interview or even if you have a bad interview. What's going to do is it just skews their opinion of you, and it's not pretty in the end, because they're just going to not be happy with what you're doing. Anyway, moving on. Well, that's done with the PowerPoint, and so I'll get us back out of that, and we're going to. So once again, you can find me at Connected Geek, or you can email me at larry@connectedgeek.net. So let's go back to the camera view of me. There we are. Hey everybody, how you doing? So I hope you enjoyed that piece of it. I'm trying to. I want to go open this up for any questions. I know we only have a couple people online, but if you guys have any questions, please send them my way. I want to answer anything you guys might have. I want to make this an interactive show. I want to make it a very engaging one. So, in the meantime, while people might be having their questions, thinking about their questions, tomorrow we're having another show at the same time, 10 o'clock. I'm going to try and do this every night at 10 o'clock. We are going to go over some social media safety about your digital footprint. I told you about that before, early in the show, how we can be safe online and how that's going to help us be mindful of what's going on around us when it comes to social media. And then the next day we're going to talk about bank lenders and financial institutions looking at your social media as well to not give you the monies that are coming to you. And then Friday we're going to go over mobile safety and how to keep your iPhone, your Android. I know there's some people still out there with a Windows phone that try to keep those things safe, so you don't have any problems with those particular devices. So in a recap, so we've been talking about how to keep your self safe and or oops, sorry, I'm trying to get some notes up here. Try to keep your social media clean and green for potential employers and letting them know that you are not a bad person, not out partying every weekend. You're a good fit for that employer. One thing I've noticed when doing some research for this, it's important to show that you're, giving back to the society, to the communities too. So if they see that you're, going out and volunteering at the pet shelter or going out and cleaning up the local park, well, those things can be to your benefit. It's important to give those prospective employers a glimpse into what's good about you, because a lot of people, we all went out partying over the weekend. We took all these pictures and videos, and well, guess what? Those are online somewhere. I mean, because somebody took a video of you dancing on the table or what have you. It's just important to try and keep a little bit of a low-key social media presence when you're looking for a position in life. You don't want them to think that you're just going out and have a good time all the time, right? So one thing you want to consider is if you do get this job that you've been looking for and your social media works out to your benefit, just be mindful of how it's going to impact the employer. When you get into the new job and, don't just spend all the time online. It's, if your job is, social media management, that's a different thing. You have to be. But a lot of employers, namely the Generation X, which is where I'm at, we typically look at the younger people, not me necessarily, but I mean, just some people, what I've experienced since I've been in the workforce, sometimes they perceive it as all you're doing is goofing off. Well, if your job requires you to be online all the time, then it's one thing. But if you're like, shopping on Amazon or going on Facebook, checking out your friends' pictures of the night before, that kind of stuff doesn't bode well with the employer. Now, if you're online looking at prospective customers and clients, then that's one thing, and trying to get business that way, that's a different story. So it's just important to keep that in mind when you're going through your social media and your day-to-day when it comes to the internet. I don't know if I hadn't seen anybody write any questions. One other thing I did notice when I was doing some research on this, obviously I did talk about Googling yourself. One thing you might want to consider is if you really want to separate your personal and professional, just create 2 different profiles. And just lock down the personal one really tight, where in your security settings, like I mentioned before, just only literally your friends and family can see, and then put the professional side out to the world. But there's a catch-22. There's to that. Then you have like 2 different personalities, and if they ever caught wind of the other private life, they'll say, "Well, what are you doing over there? Why are you not sharing with the world?" Sometimes they may consider that to be that you're hiding something from them. Obviously, you want to just keep your personal life personal, and that's important. But in today's age, there's so many different things where people are relying on that kind of insight into the person, because they are looking at you. They are paying attention to what you're doing online. And do you really want them to know as much as they really need to know? Well, some people do, some people don't. And it's, don't get me wrong, this particular topic is very touchy in the sense that you want to be open and honest with the world and tell people how you feel, and there's nothing wrong with expressing ourselves. But there's an employer out there that's probably going to look at that social media and say, well, you know what, maybe they're just not a good fit. Maybe you want to be in that position really bad, but your social media could be preventing you from getting that position. And do you really want that? Maybe not. So just keep that in mind. Wanted to see. There was a couple. Obviously, keep your Twitter comments to a minimum. Polish up old or clean accounts. Let's see what else is there. Here's a really good article. Inappropriate photos. Yeah, you don't want to do anything like that. Nothing about discrimination, bad-mouthing current employers. We already talked about that. Anyway, so I wanted to have a really good show tonight, and just kind of just let it happen as it happened. I know I only have a couple people watching, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time to be part of this show. If you guys have any suggestions, ideas, just whatever, I'm up for it. Tomorrow, like I said, we're going to go over the social media safety. Today we talked about employers looking at your social media to potentially not give you the job that you want. So I am Larry Miller. I am of Connected Geek, and I give technology consulting, advice, help you through your technology needs. I build websites, and I do help with social media. If you guys want to reach out to me, it's larry@connectedgeek.net. You can find my website the same, connectedgeek.net, and all the information about me is on there. I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate anyway, I just appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me, and you have a wonderful night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. Have a good night.